I've been terrified of dogs since I was young. My husband knew, but I don't think he realized how bad it was until recently. He got our son a dog, and at first I was angry, but he promised it wouldn't come near me, and our son was really happy, so I agreed they could keep it as long as it was kept away from me. For 2 months it was fine, and I barely thought about the dog being so close, but a few days ago, the dog came inside and it freaked me out. I told my husband he had to get rid of it now since he broke his promise, and I didn't trust him to keep it away from me anymore. My husband doesn't want to get rid of it because our son is very attached to it already, and the dog is harmless according to him. He wants me to let him take me around the dog so that I will stop being so scared of it. But I have refused and told him it had to go. We argued and he told me that if I wanted it gone, I would have to take it myself. My in-laws came to visit yesterday and my mother-in-law asked me if something had happened between us because I'm still angry at him, and she noticed. I told her about the dog and she told him off, and said she taught him better than to traumatize his pregnant wife. Now my husband is upset at me because he thinks I only told his parents to force him to do what I wanted and that we'd hurt our son if we got rid of the dog now. Am I in the wrong? And now for some comments. Everybody sucks. If your phobia is that bad and you're unwilling to address it, you should have never allowed the dog to stay even one night. Your husband never should have gotten the dog without your consent. And the breeder or rescue never should have allowed him to have a dog without knowing all adults in the home were on board. Now your son and the dog will be hurt because of your collective actions. Everybody sucks. Husband is a jerk for not being considerate of your fears. You for agreeing to a dog you knew you couldn't handle and then trying to get rid of it after your son has grown attached. Everybody sucks. But honestly, mostly you are in the wrong. Why did you let your son keep the dog for 2 months? Why did you expect that it would just stay outside forever? That's some jerkish behavior to begin with, unless it was a dog that enjoys the outdoors. Dogs need to be inside with their pack. So again, what did you expect would happen here? Your husband is obviously a jerk for apparently not realizing how frightened you are, but heck. Take some ownership of this situation. You should have rehomed the dog in a responsible way immediately instead of hurting both your son and the dog by allowing a relationship to form. You honestly sound so selfish. We were deciding what to eat and she really wanted to go to this restaurant. I was on board with it, but I'm super picky and had no idea what this restaurant had. We get there, I look at the menu and nothing looks even semi-good. For example, all of the sandwiches had wheat bread only, and I hate wheat. Anyway, I let her order her food and when the lady asks what I want, I told her I wasn't eating. I told my girlfriend I wanted her to enjoy the meal and I was happy to be there. My girlfriend got so mad, got up and left. I left with her and asked what the big deal was and she insisted I need to be there eating with her. We ended up going somewhere else together. But it irritated me. Am I in the wrong here? Update? It was some French cafe. I've never been to a French restaurant, but I was willing to check it out. Their menu wasn't very big. I just wanted her to enjoy a nice meal. There was no waitress. We ordered at the counter and they put the food on our tray. Also, we have been together for 10 months, so I don't think there is much to feel awkward about. I have no allergies. For the most part, I can usually find something to eat at a restaurant, but this French restaurant had nothing worth eating, in my opinion. I did not Google the menu beforehand because we've never gone to a restaurant that I couldn't find something to eat. This was a lunch, not a dinner. And okay, so I just learned that all the bread is made of wheat. We are all smart in different ways. It was some type of whole grain or sourdough. What I meant to say is I only like white bread. But brioche buns are good too. And now for some comments. I mean, there is picky and there is adults who only eat white bread picky. The place had sandwiches, for crying out loud. How much of a surprise could it have been that you didn't like anything? If you're that picky, I think the burden is on you to do some research ahead of time. the way someone with a food allergy or other dietary restrictions would, to determine if there is something on the menu you can eat. You are in the wrong for showing up unprepared and then almost making your girlfriend eat solo. Nobody likes doing that, and it's kind of rude to the restaurant and wait staff as well. Quote, I'm super picky and can't plan ahead or communicate with my girlfriend. You are in the wrong. Picky eaters are so exhausting. Sharing a dining experience with them is so limiting, and seems like half the time they will just want to go to the same limited choices over and over. It is different if someone has dietary restrictions because of medical issues or they are vegan/vegetarian. Restrictions like that are easy to understand and there is reasoning behind them, and eating can be planned accordingly. Someone just wanting nuggies and hating on wheat bread is a nightmare. Go try something new. Jessica, 30 female, and I, 29 male, are getting married next year. We've been doing the wedding planning, got places and things picked out. It's been going good until we hit this snag. Appy is Jessica's best friend and maid of honor. They both have dogs. When we started talking about the wedding, Jessica told me all about this plan they both had, that when each of them got married, they would have a doggy wedding ceremony between their dogs and their future husband's dogs at the same time. I don't have a dog, not a dog guy, so there is no potential for that to happen. I like her dog enough and let her do what she will with him, and I do get him treats and toys sometimes. I thought that would be the last I heard of that. She and Abby started to talk about how cute it would be to include both of their dogs in our wedding party. Not my thing, but I have friends and family that have done something similar and I want her to enjoy the wedding, so I said okay, thinking they would just be up at the altar or something like that. Nope. They want their dogs to get married during our wedding. I wasn't too keen on the idea and raised concerns like what would they do with both dogs for the rest of the day? What if the venue we picked doesn't allow pets? We went back and forth and I agreed that they could do their dog ceremony at the end of our ceremony. Couple weeks later, Jessica and Abby bring it up again. They want parts of the reception to be dedicated to their dog's friendship. Crap like puppy picture slideshow, a cake for them, dog-friendly favor bags because they want their friends and her family to bring their dogs too. I told them no, and that I already made one compromise on the issue, and don't want a bunch of dogs around for our entire wedding and reception, and that if they did that, we'd have to find an all-new venue probably. I reminded her that she was near the limit of what she could contribute toward our wedding funds, and I'll be paying the rest. And I don't want to pay extra for stuff for a bunch of dogs. They both said that this was really important to them, so I told Jessica point blank, we can stick to what we originally agreed to, or she and Appy could have their costly party that allows dogs by themselves, and we just get married at the courthouse by ourselves. Appy told Jessica I was being manipulative and making ultimatums and wanted her to go stay at her place until OP pulls his head out of his A. Jessica didn't go, but we're still going back and forth. She still wants things her way and feels I'm being too selfish. I don't think I am because I want an enjoyable wedding and marriage with Jessica, not Jessica and Abby and their pets. Am I in the wrong? And now for some comments. You're not in the wrong. What the hell did I just read? A doggy wedding? What the hell is wrong with people? Dogs are animals, not babies. This level of obsession with an animal would freak the heck out of me, and I would personally nope out of that relationship. Not in the wrong, but it is wild that your fiancé is prioritizing this over your actual wedding. She's making the day about her and her friend and sidelining you almost completely. Her best friend is making the day about her. That's such a bizarre overstepping, and the fact that your fiancé doesn't see that is really concerning. Like, this actually comes across as a pissing contest on the part of her best friend. She should be supporting your fiancé and you, not undermining your wedding plans to turn it into a party for her dog. I would honestly postpone the wedding altogether because this is a terrible glimpse into your fiancé's priorities. You rank below her best friend's dog. Not in a wrong. Step aside and let Jessica marry Appy, which is clearly what at least one of them wants. Then they can do whatever they like with the dogs in the ceremony. So this one is weird. My family hates me, but I feel like I did the right thing. Over a decade ago, my sister gave up custody of her 3 kids to their father. She was a drug addict, could care less about her children at that point in her life, and wanted no responsibility to them whatsoever. So when her ex divorced her, she willingly signed away all parental rights and spiraled out of control. 3 years ago, she hit rock bottom, got her life back together and remarried, and has a child now. Since then, she has been trying her hardest to reconnect with her other children, with no success at all. None of them wants anything to do with her. They have blocked her on all communication avenues and have made it very, very clear she is not welcome in their lives. The thing my family and sister don't know is that I have been in their lives for a little over 5 years. One of them reached out to me wanting to reconnect with someone they remembered being kind to them from their mother's side of the family. And from there I have become what I hope is a good uncle to them. I am very friendly with my ex-brother-in-law, and I will go and visit them at least twice a year for a week or 2. At their request, I have kept this a secret from my family, as many of them are just as stable as my sister is, unfortunately. Somehow my sister learned of this recently, and all hell has broken loose. My family has turned on me, declaring me evil and the biggest jerk on the planet for not playing mediator and leaking information on them about the state of my sister's kids. My sister now believes I have been poisoning the well, and further ruining any chances she has at reconnecting with her kids. On the one hand, this was their wish. They didn't want my sister to know anything about them. On the other hand, I can see how much my sister hurts by how the situation currently is. I do believe she loves them with all her heart and wants to make things right. So I've reached a moral dilemma. Edit. I do want to add one thing quickly. Even with what is going on, I have no plans to try and get my sister into contact with her disowned children. I am going to respect their wishes until they themselves decide otherwise. I will not try to convince them she has changed, as I feel that is not my battle to wage. And now for some comments. Not in a wrong. Your family wants someone to blame because they cannot face the reality that the relationship between your sister and her kids was irrevocably ruptured because of what she did, and there is no way she can get it back. But you have been in contact with the kids, so you know that both those things are true, correct? Then you know that your intervention would have made zero difference. They still would have refused any contact with your sister, they just also wouldn't have a kind uncle in their lives. Tell your family that the choice was never between you and your sister. It was between you and the kids' lives, and nobody from their mother's side of the family in their lives. And if these relatives of yours weren't so selfish, they will be grateful that you've been in a position to make sure the kids were doing okay. Not in a wrong. If you had told your sister, it would have been a huge betrayal of those kids' trust. Their wishes come first, regardless of whether or not your sister has turned over a new leaf. Not in a wrong. And I wouldn't let your former brother-in-law know what's going on, because the last thing you need is for your sister to contact them and spin a story that gets you cut off too.